away from the whole thing is that neither one was listening. It's as if both were trying to so important. So it's like both of you guys are very passionate about the financing. I heard she kept sharing that she wanted to help you out. She wanted to make things easier. And then you were already in your role of a provider. I don't want to hear what you got to say. My mindset is already on. And so it's as if I'm impatient. And I do see that a lot in men. I see it a lot. I also see it in some women, as you said earlier, with the roles when we're dealing with narcissists and we're dealing with the codependent. I deal with a great deal of that. But I didn't really get that takeaway from the skit, narcissist and the codependent. I got from what I was hearing is that both of you guys wanted the same thing. However, the emotions were high and nothing was structured. There was no reflective listening. So I know that's a that, meaning that what I think I hear you saying understood. It was both trying to prove why I need the money, why what I'm trying to do. So I think in these situations as couples, I think if we ask more, if we use more reflective listening, in other words, pause, put something in your mouth, drinking when the other person's talking, and then when they pause, say, wait a minute, I just want 1 minute. What I think I hear you saying is blah, blah, blah. So if the person feel understood, then they're more open and willing to accept what you're saying. And it doesn't mean it could be finances, it could be the kids, it could be taking a trip, it could be one person want to work and somebody else want to quit. It just all goes down into effective communication. And I think the bloodline for effective communication is reflective listening. And it's a skill set that is not taught anywhere. That's what I see. So, and when they get it, I don't care how toxic the relationships is, and you don't always got to agree with the other person, but feeling to be understood. So, but thanks so much for this, though, because it is just like this. It's just real time.
And that's what she was saying at the end. She was basically like, it's not about it's about the communication. She just wanted to be heard. And you know what I'm saying? Vice versa. So at the end, you know, that's what it's about. Just hearing each other out and really being, like you say, practicing. It's an exercise to be able to do reflective listening, where it's not even, you're not even talking to even, you're just listening. And you're really trying to gain a deeper understanding. Yeah, but I had to be the advocate today, y'all. Don't beat me up and think that I'm the bad guy.
No, but it's good though. I thought it was really good though to see real time things because, as you were saying earlier, a lot of people can actually choose themselves in this scenario with their spouse or with their partner because it is.
Thank you guys for helping us to reach the live goal.
Oh, okay then.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Mommy, you want to chime in?
Absolutely. So everything was, I mean, y'all did good. Y'all had me believing it was real. But I know a lot of people touched on where Big Aunt, you were making her feel as though, or look as though, her feelings didn't really matter about the money once she found out, or you were kind of passive about the fact that it existed instead of explaining that it existed and what it was for. I think that might have been a better approach, and she might have accepted that a little better if you had just went on in and explained what the money was for, why you were doing it, and why it was there.
Right.
Communication. Then on top of that, yep. And then on top of that, you know, giving her access maybe would have been a little bit more comfort to keep her off the side. And she had me, hold on, stop. And then she had me thinking, like, wait a minute, I don't know if he need to let her know about this account, because she talking about $50,000, a lot of money. She about to go shopping. That's what I was thinking. She about to go shopping. He had to turn me to his side. Like, wait a minute, these women going shopping with the money.
Yeah, you know
so on the flip side, she was passive on the fact that he was trying to build wealth and build stability for the family and do something that was going to be long term. She was thinking short term at that point, like, wait a minute, let me save myself, let me get what I can get now and not worry about later. So it then flipped to her being passive. So I was on your side, sister, till you went to the part about, wait, 50,000 a lot of money. Can't I just get this for this and this for that? But wait a minute, you were making it before you knew about this 50,000. So you don't really need all of that you talking about. You just bringing that up because you know the 50,000 exists. So it was actually good, and it was a good perspective on both sides. But I did notice both sides. I'm not going to be one-sided. I noticed the passive on both sides. But at the end, Big Unc came around, and I guess he said, well, I got to throw my hands in the air and negotiate on this thing right here. And he came back around and say, I'm ready to communicate now. So at that point, I think that made a big difference as well in the conversation or in the argument, and kind of knocked, cooled it down at that point to a point where both could communicate.
Thank you for that, Mommy. Thank you, Yvette. That was I thank you guys for your input. Who do we have next? And also thank y'all. Sherry has just came. Sherry has just come in, and we're gonna let her go and she's a trauma therapist as well, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in the state of California.
Right. Okay. So it's very good to have because y'all need counseling. The way y'all was counseling up there. All right. Who is that?
Everybody went. B.
Oh, okay.
So if Miss Sherry wanna go on, she can definitely do that.
She said we need counseling.
Now, Terry, you ready to come in?
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Can you
Hello.
Do the green screen?
I can turn on my camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, you can talk about this too, but y'all can. Sometimes I think when a partner is kind of tight when it comes to money, maybe because not having enough money, being poor, poverty, or whatever, that can be traumatic.
Oh, for sure. Very traumatic.
We call them penny pictures.
Very traumatic. I think, yeah, but I think that's why a lot of, you know what, you're right too, because a lot of people that I know that had money coming up, they were so stingy, but it was because they never had nothing coming up, so everything that they got, they always felt like they had to hold on to it,
Thank you, Kev. Hey, Kev, the comment.
Everyone. Oh, there go Kev. Kev, yeah. I told you.
Hi,
okay, Kev said he was going to come through.
Hey.
Kev. I'm going to leave
TikTok celebrity.
Kev, you done roast me.
Kev,
you done roast me. Let me leave Kev.
Beyonce in there. All right. Okay. Come on in, Sherry.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Doing wonderful.
That's good to hear.
Wonderful.
I was jumping in and out, so I wasn't able to follow the whole thing, but I know that there's definitely a need for some communication. That was very clear. Yeah. That was very clear.
But yeah, you can chime in on like the aspect of couples when they communicating, and it could be some like they had something that happened in the past, and this is with money, with concerning money, because people don't understand like that could be traumatic. If you because I've seen this in couples. Like Aunt was just saying, if you grew up and money was real tight. So now you like have this PTSD when it comes to spending money. And, you want to make sure that you have enough.
Mm-hmm.
We have we can be wounded by so many things, right? There are money wounds. We all have our own personal money stories, right? We all have stories. We know or you can get a sense of what might have been going on in your household, you know, when you were coming up. I know for me, when I was really small, we moved around a lot, and now I understand that, you know, there was some unstable times going on, but we have a money story. We all get taught how to deal with money. We all get taught, you know, how we're supposed to work for money or not necessarily work for money. Some people are taught, you know, you don't ever spend anything. Some people don't even wait a day to learn. There's culture around money for all of us. So, and we have to know that for each other when we're coming together as a couple, we're bringing all of that stuff to the relationship.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on that, and I agree wholeheartedly. I do thoroughly believe a lot of it starts in the home. So if you were brought up in the home, and for example, my mom was single, and it was rough. So she was always pinching pennies. She was always saving. So fast forward, when I became an adult, I had that same mentality. Now that I'm married, I still struggle with the mentality of money. It's almost as if there's this fear that you're going to be poor again, or it's not going to be enough. And it's like a looming fear. So it's something that you have to manage. And then I always tell clients and people that I work with, money doesn't really change you. You become more what you already are. So if you have very little and you are very thrifty, if you nickel and dime, when you get more, you'll be very thrifty and nickel and dime. That's just what I see. People become more what they are. And so I agree wholeheartedly with you sharing that money is basically, it's a wound for some people, and there's others who don't really struggle with it as much. And let's be real with this. If you were brought up, you know, with a savings account, and you had to learn, you do the checkbook, or if you learned how to tie your money, if you were giving, if you learn that at a child's a young age, when you get older, you realize it don't belong to you anyway. So your mindset when it comes to money anyway, it's not an issue for you. You look at it as a resource. So again, I do agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it has a lot to do with how you were brought up, and we hold on to a tradition unless there's an awareness, and then unless some things start happening later in life. But for more, I just think honestly, it just stays with you. That's just my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome in for those of you that's just joining us.
Hey, so, oh my God, this triggered me in a major way because I think,
Can you put your green screen on?
Okay, yeah.
I don't want cam up. Can you put your green screen on? I appreciate it.
All right. Let me see.
You saying some really pretty profound stuff, so let me make sure.
But what I was saying was, I think I'm figuring out how to do it. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good.
It triggered me because, like, I want to be a part of that decision-making process, or at least included. And if I feel like I can't be, then I feel like there's like a you know, no real need for us to be together. You know, if we're gonna make decisions separately and not as a team or a partnership, you know, not as a part of a partnership, then I don't think I want to be a part of that. If that makes sense. Because, you know, what happens if it all fails, you know, is it gonna be on me? You know what I'm saying? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we agree with you.
and if it all falls down, like, you know, if, like, let's just say you are making, you know, my spouse is making financial decisions without my input. If it all falls, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to help build that back up. Like, I'm pretty sure if, you don't make the right decisions, you're going to ask for my input, when you need my help. And I'm less likely to feel not supported, but enthused to help build a partnership that you kind of destroyed in that case. I hope it works out, but I would still feel left out and have less faith in the partnership going forward. So that's how it would affect me.
Wait a minute, what you agreeing with down there?
I'm messing.
Tyrone said some sideways stuff to me.
To me too, because it's like, he's saying he's protecting, his household, and that's admirable and all, but usually when someone is protecting, even the police have serve and protect on the side of their car. When somebody goes to war, their protection is their armor. Why is Big Onk's protection hidden if he truly intended to be protecting the household with this secret account? That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah, I definitely would have wanted to know why he didn't, supposedly for the kids. So that wouldn't have been something that you would necessarily needed to hide. You can still keep me from having access, but tell me about it. At least I know it exists. That means that you are communicating that much. And it would be an issue with me too. I agree with you, Ms. Taken. If we separate finances, it's just my mindset that in a marriage, once you start separating one thing, everything else gonna start separating, and then eventually we gonna separate. So it ain't a good way to solve a problem because it lingers on and leads to other things separating too, I believe, in the future.
That part.
I think that I can better swallow like a 529 college savings account. I can better swallow a insurance policy that I wasn't aware of, but a straight account, that's different. It just don't sit the same way.
But what if, even if the money was for the kids' college fund or for whatever, just because you don't see it as in that, you would still be like, you would still handle it the same?
Yeah. Because if it's truly intended, if something happens to us as parents, then that's, to me, what insurance policies are for, not secret accounts. If it's truly for college, there are college funds. If it's for the children, in case something happened to the children, get a Gerber life insurance policy, whatever, but another account makes me then wonder, what else are you hiding? Are you hiding another family on the side? Are you planning an escape route? Planning, it opens up to, if you have this financial infidelity, what other areas of the relationship has the trust been broken in?
No, I 100% agree with you, because, and I think it's funny because when V you went to my page and found that clip. Listen, when she took that clip, I was talking about, it was a clip that I was sitting in my car and I was talking about, people always say that trust is the number one thing that a relationship is built upon, which saying is that trust is foundation. I'm saying I believe that it's respect, because just out of respect, even right now, my wife and everything that I bring in this house, even though I make money doing other stuff, so I could hide money. I cannot tell her this. I cannot tell. She'll know when I get bonuses from. I tell her,
like, baby, I got a $3,500, I got some extra money, I just ran into this. I tell her, just out of respect, like, look, I'm gonna put this here, what you need for around the house, you know what I'm saying? Here, go shopping with this. Just, you know, get your makeup done with that, or whatever you want to do. I do it anyway. That's just me. That's just how I operate. But I get it, you know, some people operate different. You got some couples who don't. My dad has been with his girlfriend for 28 years. She's in her mid to late 60s and he's almost 70. And they don't live together. I think they tried to live together one time for like 6 months. They've been together since when I was like a teenager. They don't live together, but she come over there, she cook him some food, bring his plate. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got different dynamics in their relationship. If it worked for you, I just say, you know, I don't like where everybody try to box around, group it in and say, this is how it should go. This is what we accept as normal. Because if it worked for you, then that's normal for you. If it don't work for you, then it's abnormal for you. But me personally, I would never have my financial situation, because it is what it is. Like, if we together, it's our money. So like, as a man, now I might say, well, shoot, since it's like I obtained the money now, this is what I plan to do with it. But I'm letting you know, like, I got this money, so we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we needed something, I can pull something. But at the end of the day, yeah, I wouldn't hide, because like you say, it's just, that goes down a road to hide other things. So it is what it is. If I don't want you to have none of it, then I just won't let you have none of it. Or if it's already get plans made for the money, but if we need it, we need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of person. If we need it, get what you need.
So I have a question. It's not personally directed to you, but I'm just reading in the comment section, and I'm sorry if I overstepped anybody, but it's just looking one-sided, alpha male, and this kind of aggressive tone. But here's my question. Do you believe in equal partnership in your marriage, or there's a gender role? And if it's too much, you could dismiss the question. I'm comfortable with that as well too. But it's just based on the comment section.
No.
I'm not trying to be personal, but it's just, you know, it's in the conversation.
I'm gonna tell you though.
Everybody can answer that. Like, well, not well, of course we can just have the you know, go from there as a discussion part, because all of it plays a part.
Thank you.
So, I believe in equality. Like, when me and my wife, we talk about, what I say, she here, is you, I don't know if she up there dealing with the kids or what, but I said something to her about having my back or walking beside me or something. I'm like, no, I need you to walk beside me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we walk side by side and we move as a unit. And she was like, no, she said, I walk behind you. That way I trust you to lead, but if you ever fall, I got your back. Something like that, she said, but I never looked at it like that until she said it. But that's just the type of person I am. I'm always a selfless person. That's just the type of person I am. With anybody, it don't even have to be in my relationship, but especially in my relationship, that's how I am. I'm a selfless person. I just be like,
No, I'm here dealing with these kids.
So I'm like, I know you was up there dealing with them.
So TK, did you want to take a shot at the question as well too?
You can go ahead, and can you just rephrase it for me real quick?
So I was just asking, do you believe in equal, what did I say earlier? I even forgot. Equal partnership in your marriage, or should there be a gender role?
I think each role, and you gotta excuse me, I lost my voice too, guys, so I'm just getting it back. But I think both people play their role in the relationship. So, but that person might play a role, you know, like me, I might play a role that somebody may think that a male would play, depending on the situation, depending on the day. We kind of like balance it out. So my husband, there might be a time where my husband, just say if I was working and he been, but he would stay home and I would work. You know, it's what works for you both. Now, out of respect, and do I submit sometimes? I'm learning to do that, but I feel like a woman should like be able to have a little bit of submission to her husband, because I do feel, you know, getting raised up by a man, right? By my father, and not having a mother in the house. That a man should be the head. So I feel like, you know, growing up in the home that I came up in, as far as a Christian home, I'm more spiritual now, but a man is the head, and then God is the man's head. So if we have problems, we definitely would go to the universe or God and talk to God about it, and then stop, TJ. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, my child. I have a 2-year-old over here. We really do have kids. But I do think a woman should have a little softer side to them than a man, and a little bit of a softer side, and we are a little bit emotional. So men are able to think a little bit more logical than us. I had to shut the door, guys. So there are certain roles that we do play as far as nurturing our kids, as far as a mother being there for her daughter and being able to explain to her daughter when it's, you know, her time of the month and different things like that. Like, we all play those different roles. I would prefer for my husband to work. I do run a nonprofit, but I mean, he is the main provider of the family. So if I could, I would go back to 1905. Now, I don't know if I would do very well. I would love to stay with the kids and
cook and chill, huh?
I don't cook that much.
They had to
chill.
do a lot. They had to do a lot.
We would have to have a maid or something. Yeah. I hope that answered it a little bit.
I think it's a very, very good question. A very good question, because it's something that is not really explored, or it's something that's always challenged. And so if you believe in gender roles, like I do, I've been married over 36 years. I've been in a relationship with my husband for over 40 years. And I've always believed in that, because that's what works for us. Allowing him to be the head works for me, even when I feel that his decisions are going to lead us right down the road somewhere I don't want to go. But not in an abusive manner, but I just believe sometimes I am more financial savvy with choices with the finances, how it can be done. However, since he's the head of the household, I allow him to lead. I still work, I still own my own private practice, etc. He's retired now, but he still does what he does. Now, I also want to say this too. As you mature in your marriage, or you mature with your partnership, or however you are within a relationship, I think roles change because things happen. Let's say that one of the spouses gets sick, or one of the kids gets sick, or there's a loss. All kind of things can happen, and it can switch the roles from society standpoint. But I think if you believe in gender roles, and I'm a Christian as well, so I do believe in him being the head and me being the tail and following. I believe in submission, because all of this works for me. And so in my mindset, if it works, I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm not going to adopt all the other stuff. That said, I do believe in gender roles. And I think it's not just, I think there's roles all over the place. I mean, even in the work, you got a boss, you got a supervisor. So everybody has a role, period. And so I think if we think in that mindset that everybody has a role, then it's not that difficult to, work with gender roles. That's just my opinion.
That's good.
Well, I think this life requires adaptability and flexibility. So I really don't agree completely with the gender roles, because You know, in those cases that Miss Yvette was just speaking of, when, you know, a spouse gets sick, or, you know, God forbid something, you know, happens, or even not in a bad case, you just sometimes need a break, you know, like, I would like to create, foster an environment where my husband doesn't have to work so hard. Like, there was one point, 6 years actually, that he worked 7 days a week. And it affected our family so much because, of course, I was working too, but I had to be, you know, home more, and, I mean, not home more, but had to do all the domestic and give him a break when he got home because he was really tired, you know, like he didn't have the capacity to be a dad once he got home from work. And just, you know, just sitting home and just realizing, like, I got to do something about this. Like, you know, you can't work yourself down to the bone to where you have nothing else left to give. So I want to be able to pull my weight. I want to be able to, you know, kind of be of assistance to you to where you don't have to do that. Comes in, you know, now it's my turn to go out and work. Now it's my time to hustle, and you get to kind of rest and, you know, take a load off because you need time to recover from giving your all to everyone but your family and be home with your children. They need to see him just as much as they see me. They need a break from me just as much as I need it from them. So I think that gender roles just require it requires too much for one person to do that lifelong. And, you know, we should each be able to fill each other's roles and help each other out.
I agree.
I really like that you said that you felt moved to lighten the load for your spouse. I don't hear that very often, and I thought that was a really good thing that you've decided to do. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I hear people talk about, you know, we need to come together, we need to do things together. But quite frankly, it's mostly when it, in a sense, favors them. So I think it's pretty selfless to put in action, hey, there was a time where I wanted to do more so that he can do less. To me, that sounds like a true partnership. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And I think it's true. Like, when you care about someone, just past all the time, I don't see how anyone can sit down and watch anybody that they love just kind of, you know, diminish. And, you know, if you care about that person, I think you take on that weight. And I don't want to see anyone like that, you know, anybody that I love being worked to the bone. And I'm just like, tra la la, just, you know, chilling. So yeah, it is a true partnership.
I have a quick question. What happens when you're in a relationship with a man? Because I hear this a great deal. I talk to like about 4 clients a day, and this is exactly what they were saying. When the man wants to be the all, when the man wants to work like that, and then they're trying to do exactly what you just said. The woman's trying to take some of that burden off. Go ahead, get you some rest, so I can pick some extra jobs. And she is actually pushing the envelope to take off all that pressure off of him, and he doesn't receive. Because what I'm seeing for some men, that's where they get their identity from, working all the hours and things like that. And when some of them, when they retire, they get sick or they become very irritable or grumpy, because that's what I see. And you can probably speak on this more because I'm not a man. I love to hear men voices when it comes to this role. How do you handle that? I mean, because I hear this a lot about women doing exactly that, but the man doesn't receive. They want to be in this work mode.
Before you answer that, I want Sherry to come in. How do you feel about gender roles?
I believe that every relationship should set their own rules. I think that what works for you is what works for you and your partner. And, I believe that we all get hungry. Um, Hunger is not gender specific, so having to prepare food shouldn't be. But it's about what works for you in your relationship. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do and how to do it in their relationship.
I agree. I think that's how I believe. I believe that, like I said earlier, however if it works out for you, then to each his own. Because I can't tell somebody else that they're not happy in their relationship because it's different from mine. But what I will say to the question that you asked, mindset strategy. As a man, I think men, because we're built and we're wired and taught and pushed by society to have the mindset that we must provide. If you don't provide, other men look at you like you ain't no man. Like you ain't contributing something, a nice chunk or the majority, if not all, to your household. Other men will not respect you. Society will not see you, look at you, treat you, and respect you as a man. And so that's why, to me, a man will go and I think a lot of that plays a contributing factor to men having shorter lifespan than women, especially African American men. We'll work. We'll do whatever we got to do. If we love our family and our children, and we're real true protectors and providers, we'll do whatever we got to do. Y'all will have to step in and be like, no, I'm finna take some of this off you. Because if not, you would be a widow because we'll work. And then you be sitting up at 50-something years old like, yeah, my husband passed away, because we'll work.
Yeah, it was Tyrone in the chat so I don't know who that was in the chat. They was basically saying they don't need the woman caring for them. They handle everything in their household. But I think it's good, like you said, like we've been saying, like it's according to each individual and their relationships. I feel like that, like everyone else was saying too, that of course I feel like there's kind of no way to get away from roles. I think it's just how we look at the roles. It's not for like a dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? I don't want someone that has to be a dictator. And I don't think that it's wrong to say that we want our man to lead. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's how you want your relationship. And also I've said in the past, which some people disputed it, that I feel like both of us are leaders. But I do feel like at some point that the man may have to take the lead more often. But because of the work that I do and dealing with a lot of people who have a lot of medical issues, a woman should be able to lead as well. And so I see a lot of that, like I said. So you want your mate to have leadership skills, period. No matter what the gender is.
I do.
Right.
I think Miss Taken wanted to answer.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to give a follow up to that, to Miss Yvette's question. And Big Unk too. I think men are also conditioned to somehow, it's like a distorted thought of the more unhappy. Oh, sorry. Different. But their happiness, like it's like they are taught to be happy being unhappy, if that makes sense. Like, I can't really put it into words, but I just had to force my husband into quitting his part-time job. And he was driven out of fear, like how someone else was mentioning earlier too. You know, like I am a shopaholic. That's kind of why he's always like, we gotta have money in the bank. We gotta have this. We gotta have that. And pinching pennies and stuff. And I had to show him like I'm capable of saving. I do. I have to show him that I'm capable of not spending every last dollar that we make. So that's what I had to do too. And even then he was still kind of, hesitant about it. But I got a promotion at my job, so that helped a lot. And I had to just show him, like, listen, I'm trustworthy. I can have self control. I'm a grown up now. I know what your fears are, and that's like validation. And I won't ever put us in that situation again. Like I've learned my lesson. If that's what it takes for me to have you here, have us to have you here, and interacting and being a, active member of the family and not being tired and lifeless all the time, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to show you that you don't have to break your back to do that.
Real.
I wanted to chime in on the gender roles as well. I don't really, I don't think I believe in gender roles. I could, I guess, or it could be considered gender roles. However, like to me, entering into a partnership, and as long as we both agree with whatever roles we assign, and we put, make the best decisions that is going to give us the best results, then I'm good with whichever roles, whichever way. But I wouldn't look at them as gender roles, just roles in a relationship. Because during a relationship and during time and over time, it definitely can change. They can reverse, they can switch. We can take on different roles as time goes on. So it's just the willingness of accepting the change and accepting whatever role we need to take to make it work.
All right, great. This one? The mic on?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I think I'm the last one. Did somebody else have another question? Or V, were you about to give another question or scenario?
No, I was reading some of Lloyd
Yeah, I was just reading that.
questions. Comments. Okay, for those of you who just joining us, we had a skit and we were talking about the skit had a lot of stuff in it. Basically, what we promote here is effective, healthy communication. It was a husband and wife. It was a relationship, and a lot of times dealing with finances and relationships, we know that kind of like can be like the the end all be all for in a lot of relationships. People were here for the skit. We were kind of like discussing it and also giving some feedback of what we saw today in the skit. For those of you who just joined. But so if anybody else has a question on this topic or y'all want to come up and in the box, y'all just let me know. Go ahead, you was getting ready to say something?
No, it was something to mistaken what I was gonna say. I forgot what I was gonna say, but I just feel like men and women operate different in our relationship. I think that when it comes to finances, that's a delicate situation in a relationship because I think ain't that like the number one or close to it reason for divorces? Yeah, I think that's important, and I think a lot of people don't really discuss their finances in detail and really strategically come up with a plan as a couple, as a unit, though, and talk about investment, budgeting, saving, and I think the way society got it set up to where like now with a relationship or a marriage, the first thing you want to think about, unfortunately, is how to protect myself just in case something happened. A lot of people get married and they be like, well, look, especially if they got something, they be like, is you gonna make him or her sign a prenuptial agreement because of situations like that? You know what I'm saying? People be hiding money, people, all kind of stuff. Put stuff in different names and accounts, and then when you get divorced, you find out that you thought you was going to get this car, but it wasn't even in his name. All kind of stuff.
Welcome in, Lloyd. That is so true.
Can't hear you.
No, that's it.
She
Somebody.
was just saying, welcome in, Lloyd. Did you have something to add to the
Oh,
topic, or
well,
I know you were making some comments that
yeah,
maybe you
well,
want to share.
I was stating, two things. What brother said is right, finances and loyalty. And I'm saying loyalty because that covers cheating, that covers lying, that covers a multitude of things. But finances and loyalty are the two biggest causes of divorce. And I don't know if a lot of y'all remember back in the day, there was a song that said, there ain't nothing going on but the rent. If you want to be with me, you got to have a job. No romance without finance. That rings true. That rings true today. That rings true. That's something that stands the test of time. As men, we are looked at providers. As men, we have to we shoulder we're looked at as that head. We're going to look at, and it's not to discredit that we have a wife at home or a partner, but here's the thing: you have a lot of people who don't know the roles that they applied for, who don't know what they're supposed to be doing in it. As I stated, a marriage is nothing but a business merger. And it's a merger of two entities coming together and mixing in, getting rid of the bad, supplementing the good, finding out who's better at what. You're better at making the money. If I'm better at making the money, then I need to be able to trust you with the money to pay the bills. I need to give you the money so you can pay the bills. If I'm better at something in the relationship, it's finding that blend. It's finding that balance in it. It's taking away the pride. It's taking away the ego from both parties and making it work for you. Where people lack is being selfless to one another. When people say submissive, and when you use the term submissive, people automatically think of obey. They think of, no, I'm not going to stop using that comparison because it's a legitimate comparison when you think about it. However, when people say submissive is not obey. Submissive means to be selfless to one another. If you can't be selfless to your mate, how the hell you're more selfless to your job? You're more selfless to people in the streets than you are at home. If you can't be submissive or selfless to your home, but you could be selfless at work, how do you expect to have a marriage that's going to be successful? You can't. Why? Because our egos. Don't nobody want somebody telling somebody what to do, or they might feel like you're telling me what to do. You might feel, and that's the problem. People lead with feelings instead of actualities, instead of facts. I can't go off of what you feel. I have to go off what is in front of me. As men, we are to be rational and not irrational. We are to have emotion, but not be emotionless. A safe space for us to be vulnerable. If you can create that space for us to be vulnerable as your husbands, you basically got the world and everything on a silver platter from us. because that's something that every man wants, is to feel vulnerable at home. If you have a man who come into your home, who can come home from work and do this,
Don't I say that? I say that all the time.
if a man can come home from work after a
They don't
long
even
day
understand.
and just
They
do,
don't even understand.
I promise you, you have him. He is not going
Hey,
anywhere. He trusts you with everything.
and don't let her come and like grab your shoes when you kick them off. But let me put them up for you, baby. You good? I just made. So you like, woo.
Right.
Listen,
You today, and what's crazy is today you have, unfortunately, what we're seeing here, there's a lot of hurt that's in these marriages, that's in these relationships. You have a lot of trauma that's unresolved. That's why
man, come on.
therapy is so important. I'm an advocate for. I tell people, go to therapy, go to individual therapy. It is okay. As black people, we need to take away that mental health is real. Bottom line, and people have yet to deal with past hurt. People choose to get over situations by getting under situations, and then you're bringing on a spirit from somebody else into your current. I get it. Everybody want to be independent. Everybody want to do this. Everybody want to do, but too many people are fighting each other face to face and competing with each other for dominance in the home and back and every like I got your 6, you got my 12. We're too busy competing with each other. You got too many people out here who will rather compete against each other, or what they say will chop off their nose to spite their face. Yeah, some people who are so ego driven. I get it. Women, y'all can do just as much as we can. I applaud you. I applaud y'all for doing what you do. But don't negate or knock the brother down or the next person down for doing something just as much, or even if it's not as much as you, but don't put the next person down. And fellas, we got to stop doing the same thing to our women. Stop negating what she does in the home if she's not working. If you got a woman who can make sure you have everything you need in your home without even asking, if you got a new pack of drawers, new socks, new this, whatever you need before you even ask, stop complaining. You ain't got to knock her down and talk about what she not doing. Applaud her for what she is doing. It could be a lot worse. You could be with someone who spends all your bread and can only make a mean reservation. But a lot of people have to heal. They have to heal from traumas and emotional damage, whether it's from childhood or as an adult. And if they want to have trust and if they want to have a successful relationship, people need therapy. And that's why I said a relationship, what people don't understand, when you get married, a title. That's the only thing that changes. The title is the only thing that changes. What you're doing now is what you're going to carry into a marriage. How you treat each other in your relationship right now is how you're going to treat each other in your marriage. Don't nothing change. You're still the same person who you are when you woke up that morning. Y'all were still living together, but people let the title of this is my wife, this is my husband, they let the weight of the title break them, or they don't understand the job they applied for. And that's really what takes place there. There's a lack of understanding what you get. People get married because it feels good. People get married because I'm in love. Nah, love ain't gonna pay the bills. Love, people changes with love.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? People don't even realize, like, don't marry the person you can live with. Marry the person that you can't live without. That person that you can't live without is the one that is going to be your partner. Our grandparents and people of old had it right because they had a partnership. They understood the dynamics of the home. And that's why their marriages tend to have lasted a lot longer than what is happening today.
Man, he's speaking a whole lot of truth now.
You know, when we have these marriages, yes, everybody wants to get married. Everybody wants that. This merger. You have to get rid of the bad and incorporate the good from each party, or or add the benefits from each individual. That's how you need to look at it. I'm not saying treat it that way. I'm saying look at it that way. Two totally different things. Get rid of that emotional aspect, fellas, of being irrational and acting out of emotion, and be logical and be rational. Chill out. Too many of us, sorry, don't fix everything. And that's what people got to understand. Once you put stuff out there and how you treat your mate, it ain't going to fix everything. That's why we got to be careful with how we pick and choose our words. We got to be careful how we talk to one another.
It's some good stuff, and I, really appreciate you being a voice for the men and really just giving a different perspective. A lot of times we have a lot of women heavy panels, and so it's really good to hear another male's perspective. So thank you for all that you've shared.
I appreciate it. I love talks like this. You know, we don't know everything, but if we come together as a unit, we can figure this thing out.
Thank you so very much for that. I'm going to exit. I'm going to step down. I'm going to leave my office. I'm going to go home. Husband cooked dinner, so that's where I'm going to go. I'm going home to eat.
Thank you.
But anyway,
Thank you
so thanks so
for
very much for
stopping
letting
by.
Thank you for letting me up. And when I probably park at the house, I'll probably, just follow along. So thanks so much. Thank you so much. You guys
You shared some good stuff. Thank you.
take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Good night.
Yeah, but
Good night.
y'all continue to tap the screen, share the live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just providing feedback or just additional conversation from the skit that was performed earlier today. It was wonderful. And if there's someone who wants to chime in, feel free to chime in. But that's basically what we're doing right now. Continue to tap the screen, share the live. We're at 50% of the live goal. Thank you. Continue to support the live. Thank you.
Were we still staying on the gender role, or we wanted to shift gears a little?
Wherever you want to go with it.
So, based on so I could answer the question as well too. It would be really quickly in comparison to what everyone said earlier. It was definitely in comparison, but I'm leaning towards more of a partnership, because with the any relationship, yay, 50%. Oh, it's reached, nice. With any relationship, there's obviously going to be roles and responsibilities in a relationship, because once everybody knows what they're responsible for, the goal is, the mission, the purpose, then everyone jumps in and gets things done, and it works together as a partnership and as one person is able to do certain things, then the partner knows to pick up the slack because it is one mission, one purpose. So it's more of a partnership. So that's where I go. That's where I would take it for me personally. But I would like to know, right? If the roles were reversed and the man as a provider not able to provide and go out in the working field, would the woman, would we respect the man the same? Would we give him that same respect? Is he still considered a leader in his house?
That's a
That's a
really
good,
good question.
yeah, that's a great question. Do you wanna start? TK, are you available to chime in? You could just kind of start from the top. Or Big Unc.
All right.
Hold on.
Thank you
Okay.
so much for having me on your VTalk. I just wanted to let you guys know that I got to put these kids to sleep. But I'm gonna leave you guys with this. This was really great. Especially role playing with my husband. We don't deal with that, but I know again there's people that do deal with that and the gender roles and all of that. You guys, yeah. It's your girl TK, life, mental health, nutrition coach, Zumba instructor, author of the Tiffany Tiffany book series, founder of Tiffany Tiffany Inspirational Motivational Services. You guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you, love. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, TK.
TK, can you chime in or?
Oh, did you hear me?
I'm sorry. I meant Big Unc.
Okay, so hold on here. Hold on. Okay, here.
Y'all too close together.
Let me grab this boy. His butt is past his bedtime. But yeah, like I really enjoyed myself. It was funny to see people coming up saying that they thought it was real because when I do stuff like that, I really try to recreate, a scenario because I done been through it before. So a lot of this stuff I know by experience because, you learn from your experience and you go through these types of relationships. I think like with Healing Your Silence. She speak about the narcissist a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's why even when V had me come do these skits, I always put a 10 on it. She'd be like, I ain't say that part. I'm gonna put something extra on it because, it always be extra. Like, and then people get to going off on something that ain't got nothing to do with what y'all arguing about. But at the same time, I think financial like hardships in a relationship does harm relationships. And I do really believe that, you should be working toward investment and growth and trying to build a nest egg or some type of, put your money in a mutual fund, do something to help it grow. I think as a family, you have to be very financial literate when it comes to like, especially in this economy right now. Otherwise you'll find yourself before you know it. It happens every day. And so I do advocate for that, but I would not withhold my funds if that was if that was a real life situation. I don't advocate for that because, I think that shows that lack of respect, which obviously there will be no trust then. So
I think the question that we were on, what the most recent question was if the person that you were with who may have contributed to the household finances was unable to work, how would you feel about taking full responsibility for the household finances? I believe it was kind of kind of pitched in a way if the husband can't work anymore or
Okay, yeah.
is unable to work, how would women
That's
feel? But I mean, I guess it could be the same if your spouse was not able to work or whatever, and you had to do it all. How
mhm.
how would you feel?
I talked about that before on my platform that you know, just more evidence that there is no the man is the head and this and that. Now, in some respects, I understand men, there's some things that a woman, this is what I always say. There's some dynamic that a woman bring to a household that a man just can't bring. I don't care how much money he got. I don't care how good he look. I don't care what's going on. And it's vice versa. There's some things that a man got that a woman just ain't gonna be able to bring. My wife would tell you, like, I don't know how you get these kids to listen. I could look at my little 2-year-old son and he run and go sit down. She do it, he fall, he cry, he did voice presence, a man's voice in presence. But I talk about this a lot. I just feel like I would definitely be willing to take care of my mate. You got to. You have no choice at that point. I mean, that's why I don't mind. Like, I think, like, if it could work out where y'all trying to build and she don't have to work and you going to work temporarily until y'all build a business or whatever, cool. But at the end of the day, if something happened, like, I want my woman to be smart, have a degree, if she can, like, be able to have some skills and value to her. I think that's what I look for. I know a lot of people don't look for that. People may look for it, like, just look shallow, at the looks or the outer appearance. But me, I look for substance. It ain't all about, oh, she look like a exotic runway model, because beauty still is beauty. A fine woman is a fine woman. When you add the things that really builds character and has substance to a woman, to me, that's the best thing you can have. So I want her to have all that, because what if I get sick? What if I have a stroke, heart, anything can happen to me? She would need to pick the slack up. Somebody got to do it. If something happened to her, accidents happen, all kind of stuff happen in our life, and we go through as we go through life, all kind of obstacles and things happen. So you just never know when it's going to happen to you, and that's when you have to have that plan. You know what I'm saying? That plan, you have to have that plan of action somewhere close by where you can implement it.
Oh, that's it. Thank you. So if the spouse is not work, are they still respected the same? So if it's for women, is he still considered the head of the household or the man of the house? For you, would your spouse still be respected the same?
From me, she would.
Mm-hmm.
From me, she would. But I understand how society looks at things. But I wouldn't get worried or caught up in that, because at the end of the day, if you were doing what you were supposed to be doing and you throughout your marriage or throughout your relationship, then if y'all are to be together, it doesn't even matter anyway, because who brings things like that up in a relationship? Like, remember when you were sick, I took care of you? Like, no, you just do what you're supposed to do. And you don't worry about what other people say or how society look at you, because I'm not going to feel less of a man. If I've been working and taking care of my family and breaking my back, and then all of a sudden an injury or something traumatic or, suddenly happen, I would expect my woman, if she loved me, to soldier whatever it is she got to soldier, and we going to get through this together. And I know that she wouldn't look at me no different. Now, society may say, well, she taking care of man, but people don't know what you're going through. They might not even know your situation, so I wouldn't worry about that. I don't focus on the outside noise. When it comes to a relationship, I try to keep that stuff. That's like, if you go down my page, like this was the first time that I had my wife on here with me, because at the end of the day, I don't, like, listen. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't let the outside noise get to me. You go down my page, you might see 2 or 3 videos out of all my videos of my wife or my girl with me, because I don't, I keep that part of my life separate, and she got her own thing. But we'll come together, you know what I'm saying? We know how to give each other space. You got to learn how to all up under me, and she feel the same way. So I just came from a weekend vacation in Detroit. She finna go to Houston or Dallas or somewhere next week. Listen, I ain't worried about it. I bought her the clothes to go in. Put these on. These look real good on you. You got to know how to make your relationship work and the dynamics in your relationship work.
No, I appreciate that. I'm gonna take a stab at the question as well. And for me, I have been involuntarily the head of my own household for a very long time. So I definitely know how to maintain things, whether a spouse is there or partner or whomever or not. So if I'm with someone and for whatever reason they no longer can work anymore, I honestly don't feel that I would respect them any differently. They would still be the head of the household. But I have to admit that it would be natural for me because I don't have a lot of experience with someone else taking the lead at all. So for me, it's just very natural. It'd be like second nature. For me, I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't think about what anybody has to say or anything, because it's just what I'm kind of accustomed to doing. Now, I think that is not without conditions, though. To be quite honest, for me, the conditions would be I would have to see, well, what's the or not bringing in money into the household. If it's a reason like something health wise, they just physically can't work, or they're unable to find a job, but they have been actively looking, that's different from somebody who is not trying or giving an effort. That part I would have a problem with. Would I lose respect for the person? No, I wouldn't lose respect for them. But it would definitely begin to cause a rift in our relationship, because what I don't want and I can't do is take care of somebody who is able-bodied themselves. I that just don't sit right with me. And so I don't want that, and it's not something I could tolerate. But I wouldn't be disrespectful, but I would definitely, I don't think that anybody would want to feel used in any kind of way. If it's a partnership, I think that we all should be working towards a common goal if we're able to.
I think I'm gonna say, that question goes into the vows, right? The vows that you make when you get married. And I realize one thing is a lot of people don't want to say the vows because they don't want to be held accountable for the vows that they said. That's why they write their vows. What you're saying is this is where it comes in the for better, for where if my significant other, I'm not married, but if I was to ever have gotten married, I've been in relationships where years when I wasn't working at that particular moment in the relationship, I cooked. I made sure that the house was clean. I did everything to make sure that her day was easier when she came home. And then when I got back working, everything was cool up until, we parted ways for whatever reason. It's got to be something there. Like, you just can't be sitting home, sitting on your behind. You got to contribute in some factor. Now, if as a man, if our lady decides to not work, we still have to take care of the home anyway. We still got to go to work anyway to make sure we have a roof over our head. These are things that we have to do. It's in our nature to do. It's in our DNA to do. It's in our blood to be providers. So we have to take care of the home. We're going to do it. So it's not going to be a quote unquote issue on our behalf because we're going to take care of the home anyway. We're going to make sure that we have a roof over our lights. We're going to make sure that you're good. But for some, not all, but for some women, like you said, it all depends on your dynamic of your household or your makeup of who you are. If you have that man who's not doing anything, you're all going to look at him. You're going to lose a certain amount of respect for him. That leader or that head of the home is going to fall, especially if he's not doing what you might feel to contribute. And now work and still don't contribute. Just like you have a lot of women who go to work and still don't contribute to the household. So, it's all about perspective. It's all about what you're willing. And it mainly goes into, are you willing to honor the vow that you took? That for better, for worse is real. When marriage start marrying, when life start lifing, are you going to honor that? Forsaking all, for better, for worse, for sickness and in health, for richer, for poor. These are the things that the vows tell you that you need to stand on and to handle. But here again, a lot of people don't want to say those vows because they don't want to have to live up to them.
I like what you said just now, Lord, and even Honeybee so far, right? Because, like I said, taking on a responsibility and a role and whatever, holding it down, you know your partner, you're gonna hold it down with them. But when that person becomes so complacent and you are this people pleaser and you're also lying to yourself and you want everything to look good and you're holding it down because you don't want things to look bad on him. You still want him to look good as a man. And I'm speaking from experience because I was in that position where I had to work, was taken care of. This man was not disabled. There was nothing wrong with him. He chose not to work. But the level of denial that I was in, I was holding it down for the family. I was going out there doing it and working for the family, holding it down. But that's just that level of denial, right? Ain't nothing wrong with him. He's not cooking. He's not cleaning. He's not helping out, doing anything. And on top of that, there's that level of disrespect. So it's a level of disrespect and things that we accept. That's what's going to make you lose respect for the person because now they're not holding it down like they're supposed to. They did take vows and not holding down the vows. But it all goes back to the vetting process, right? Of how we're choosing our partners and the people that we choose to partner with and doing that lengthy work. So I totally agree with what you said just now. Totally agree. And I'll yield the floor.
I was just looking at one of the comments that says that men basically leave when a woman gets sick or leave after children. That's BS. Not all men do that. Can't say men because you could say a woman is going to leave as soon as a man's job is lost. As soon as a man loses a job, a woman is out.
Those are
And because
guys. Those are not
and,
men.
and
Those are guys.
right, but I'm saying she says data on men divorcing women when they are terminally ill. It's the same. You have women who will divorce a man who is not working or something happened and you're ill, you because you don't feel secure. Women will choose, not all women, but a lot of women and most women will look to a man for security. That's the primary goal, is to feel secure. You're not going to be with a man if he doesn't make you feel secure.
I think I don't really want to go down a road of women do this and men do this and women do this and men do this. I think that we are all capable of doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And so would a man or a woman divorce if their spouse is terminally ill? Absolutely. Absolutely. Would a man or a woman leave if that person, let's say for instance, they were in a higher tax bracket and then now they're no longer there? Absolutely. And so I've definitely, people keep talking this, I've seen it multiple times in the chat, for better or worse. To be honest with you, I think that's just a bunch of bull. I don't think that people really are the better or worse. I think that most people are for the better, but when the worst come, they hit the road.
Facts. What they say, when the tough gets going, people get going. Some people don't. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Some people don't follow that.
No, they don't.
That state. Some people actually will get going when the going gets tough. You have a lot in today's era, especially when situations arise and when it comes to finances. If a man, there's an old saying: if you want to know who a man loves, look at who he spends his money on.
You were talking about, and I could be wrong, but I thought you were talking about like not marrying for love, that it was more like, it sounded like it was more transactional.
No, I was. Yeah, again, it's all about interpretation. I was really saying partnership. I'm saying when you marry, love is good, but don't let that be the sole thing. Because love isn't going to pay the rent. Love isn't going to balance out. Love isn't going to do a lot of things. Love is supposed to be a balance. Love is supposed to be a foundation, but it isn't supposed to be the only thing.
But
I
would
could love
love
you
be
all
the
day
thing
long.
that makes the difference between a person that leaves when you lose your job or leaves when you get this diagnosis? Would love be the gate then?
No, if I'm sick, God forbid, knock on wood, if I'm married and something happens to me and I get sick or ill, and my wife has to be there for me. Love is something that's going to keep her, right? That's going to have her there. But she's sticking with me because not only is she there, but we have a partnership. We have an understanding. We have a bond. We have a connection. I'm the person. That's what I said. You never marry the person that you can live with. You marry the person that you can't live without. If you marry the person that you can't live without, you will always be around. That person will always be there, regardless of what goes on.
Okay.
A lot of people solely marry for love, but then you and at those times that person ain't good for you. You've seen people who've been, and I know this is going off topic, but you've seen situations where a woman is being abused, but she's still in love with that man. It's not good for her, but she's still in love with that man. Or you have people that's in love with a person who has potential, but they don't live to their potential.
Yeah.
That's why you don't solely marry for love. You got people who change their mind because of love. You hear it all the time. I fell out of love. We just grew apart. Why did you grow apart? What caused you to fall out of love? And we throw that term around, love, so loosely. It's like, nah, I don't want to marry for love solely. And I'm not saying marriage is transactional. I'm saying marriage is a partnership. We do it together. There's going to be some days in a marriage is not always going to be 100-100. There's some days in a marriage where you're going to have to pick up the slack a little bit more than I am. There's some days the marriage is going to be 99-1, 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. There's going to be those days. So we got to stop with these expectations and be real about it. If you're going to marry somebody, you're going to marry the understanding that you have a partnership, that it's y'all against the world. Simple. That's the
It's
thinking all of us.
interesting. It's interesting, but it makes it makes me think, well, why marry? Why marry? Why marry if it's not really the for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health? That's a joke. That's a good, a good rhyme, but not necessarily taking heed to. Yeah, I get marriage can be a partnership. I get that. But even with that, a partnership, there's conditions. And so during this partnership, there is, I guess there's just no guarantees that that the relationship would be sustainable. And I know I've seen so many instances where people would be together for, I don't know, 20 plus years, and then that quote unquote, as you mentioned, grow apart or decide, oh, I want a younger version of a mate, or I want to get my groove back, so I want to do something else, and so it's almost like, what's the point? Like, why? It's not sacred anymore. Marriage to me doesn't hold the same, I guess, value that it had in the past.
So you just answered your own question about love.
Okay.
You just answered your own question why you don't marry for love. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people don't even honor. Remember when I said people don't like to honor the vow? That's why they don't say them. You find more and more people writing their vows. Person is held accountable to the vows that's there. That's why a lot of people will write their vows. They don't want to be held accountable. Subconsciously, don't want to be held accountable to the vows that's there. Why? Because, granted, you're human. There's going to be days like I used to ask my grandparents, and I watched my grandparents. They were friends. They had an understanding. They had a partnership. They had it to where, they knew.
Real quickly, Lloyd, before I don't know if Aunt get ready to go, but I wanted to thank him for everything on tonight, and to make sure that because I know he has to get the kids to bed. If you want to say any lasting words, if you still on here, give you the opportunity to do that. Thank everyone who participated. This has been a really, really awesome show. We hadn't had a full show in a good little while. So I love anybody who's just joining, who is new to VTalk. I like to have a talent come on in the beginning. Sometimes I have interviews. I've interviewed several people on here, and then we do the skit, and then we come up for a discussion, and that's kind of like what we're doing right now. So just wanted to reiterate that. And Texas, welcome in. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, I was just saying that's why you have people who will sit up here and they pick and pull what they want. They pick and choose. You know, there's going to be moments in a relationship that you can't stand me as your husband, but as your best friend. Why? Because I'm that person that you can't live without. I'm your best friend. We have that bond. We have that connection. We have all of that together. You have people who realize, like, when your marriages start getting rocky, that foundation of your friendship is so important. That foundation of rebuilding something, rebuilding your love for each other off of the friendship that's there is so important. Sometimes you got to put a pin in the title of my wife and focus on my best friend. Sometimes you got to focus on that part and realize, okay, this is my best friend. So let me handle this. Let me deal with that. Let me address this as such. Anybody who's been married longer than 2 days can understand that. Yeah, sometimes your marriage is going to require you to fall back on your friendship to strengthen your marriage.
I want to give Texas an opportunity to come in as well. Also, you guys, when we're coming on the panel and doing discussion, if you can do your green screen. If you don't want to cam up, that's cool. But when it comes back to replays, is really good if you can. So TikTok know who you are. Everybody know who you are, because a lot of times people are saying some really profound stuff. So, and you want people to be able to go follow you back if that's the case. But anyway. All right, come on, Lloyd. You need to finish, or Texas, you ready to come in?
I'm good. Big Tex can go.
Okay.
I'm trying to load up a picture that I want.
While Texas trying to load his green screen, I just wanted to comment on the love part that Honeybee was speaking on earlier. So a lot of people I see no longer really get married for love. Some people say they're in love and they're in love with the idea, or they're in love with the hope of what they want it to be, as opposed to being in love with the actual person. So if you're not in love with your partner, that person, their character, their demeanor, the way that they live, the things that they do, not just their looks, I agree. But if you're not in love with all of that, sometimes we move forward, we get married, and we think we're in love, but we're really in love with hope and ideas, and not really in love with our partners. So I think that's a lot of part why love doesn't kick in when it should, because it was never there.
Just to get out of my head. Thank you. That is pretty much the point that I was making. I think the reason that the opportunity to unite is not viewed in such a way that it is something that everyone is trying to do anymore. We're trying to select a thing that exists. And when we find out that we're ill-equipped for it, then we want our resume, title, yesteryears to represent something that in the current it doesn't. And we're optimistically hopeful that the people that are in our lives will draw from, I guess, this well. The problem with that well is it's not an inexhaustible well. It's like the reserve on your car. When it's on empty, you can still go a few miles, but you better pull over unless you plan on walking or pushing or both to get some more to continue your journey. And so we lose that normally with time because we let it get on empty. And then when we're running on empty, we're looking for people to pour into us. Normally our significant other, we have nothing for them. They have nothing from us because we've exhausted everything that we have for the idea of this thing that we are. Literally, we're united together as a man and a woman. However, we have nothing for the thing that we built because we gave it all away. You know, the sanctity of what it was supposed to be as we talk about it, me and you know, hook or crook under a bridge on top of a building, doesn't really matter. We're friends. We're together. We're going to do this thing, gets lost because we're so focused on what is. You know, I was sitting in my mother's bathroom. Most of you guys that know me, I lost her a few months ago, and on her bathroom mirror, she has a saying that says, "You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out." Deuteronomy 2:28, and it's on a mirror. That just reminds me of it's a complete thing that we got to do instead of individual pieces. We can't look for a thing or a checklist. It just has to exist. And if we get back to the basic of loving each other as we should, and loving through the differences, then I think we'll be better. And we won't be in this spiral of hopelessness that we find ourselves in, hoping that somebody's going to come and pour into the cup. Our cups should be runneth over because we got a double blessing by being here and who we are today. So if we will pour out to people open-handedly, I think we can receive a lot more than what we're getting. I'll land there. Thanks.
No, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Getting back to the basics, for sure.
If no one else has anything to add, we can kind of wrap it up with our final thoughts.
Well, I just want to say it's a pleasure to come in. I know I'm the last man speaking, and you guys will. I rock with all of y'all. I really appreciate you guys being in this space, this place that we call TikTok, to sharpen my iron and talk to people of intelligence in a space where that communal melanated love is a thing, in such a world that at one point in time I felt that it was hopeless, that we as a grouping of people, you know, we couldn't work our way out of a paper bag together, you know, the crabs and the bear mentality. So I just want to say in closing, thank you. And to the people in the chat, as I always say, the height of our arrogance and the depth of our ignorance is our undoing. We are not as smart as we think we are, and we definitely do not know everything we think we know. Look, let's live in the middle. That's what grace is. And I think we'll be okay. Keep going forward. Possible is possible. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. And I just wanted to, like, once again, I want to thank everyone for joining and putting in their input, because when we're having these type of topics and these discussions, I love when I hear testimonies about people using the effective communication skills, having healthy communications, and being open to have better relationships. You know, for those people who desire to have a significant other, or not just with romantic relationships, but relationships with everyone that we come in contact with. You know, so once again, I would love to hear final thoughts from my other guests up here. If not, then we can go ahead and get on out of here. No. All right. Well, we're here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once again, like I said, if y'all know anyone, we also like to display talent. So like earlier today, we had a guy came in, he displayed his talent, which was really amazing. He sang and it was so soothing and amazing. And I also like to do interviews. I like giving people information. Texas, I know me and you, I've said to you before, you know, you and Miss Charlotte in the comments, y'all very good on the business that y'all do. Make sure also y'all following Honeybee. Honeybee has oils and different other things in her TikTok shop. Is it Malik? Am I saying your name right? Thank you, Malik, for gracing us with your talent. It was so amazing. Once, like I said, y'all make sure y'all following Honeybee and patronizing her business. Mom and Money has a product coming up. She's gonna be doing lip gloss. And who else am I forgetting? Fleeing Nation, it was in the comments. He has his t-shirts and his fleeing kits. He want to make sure that we when we do get with somebody, that we keeping that spice there. So you want to tell us about it, Mama Money? Something got in my throat.
So, yeah, I give a brief description. Of course, I got the kids. Y'all forgive my background. But I'm coming out with a lip gloss. I'm starting with the lip gloss. Both vegan and regular. A host of different types for, you know, all you ladies like and desire, shiny, mate, all of the above. And should be releasing in about 30 days. There are 138 colors, so it's an entire line. Believe me, it'll be something there that you can find that you can probably use, or at least try. Very inexpensive, so I don't plan on, you know, it's not Maybelline, so it will be very expensive and cost effective. Even children can use it. Like I said, I do have a vegan set of lip glosses as well, different types of vegan lip glosses as well there. So definitely check it out. Give me about 30 days. I am going to shoot out the release information and the grand opening information here shortly in a couple of weeks. But I should have the product line ready to go in about 30 days. So check me out. That is the beginning. I will be adding more. Definitely, if you have any suggestions, anything you particularly want me to look at as a product to place into the store, let me know. I will gladly look into it. 9 times out of 10, we probably got the colors. If not, definitely check out the color scheme that I released. I will leave that as well so that you can look through that. But I'm excited. I've never been in the makeup side. I've always been the credit, taxes, business side. I still have that business going as well. But just dipping in over here in the makeup industry is a new adventure for me. But of course, I love starting businesses and love helping everybody else get theirs going or moving or improved or grown or whatever the case may be. And even if it's not a business, if it's something we can help you with, definitely let me know. I have no problem at all sharing any information I have. So thank you all for having me here. Thank you, VTalk, for these awesome lives. Thank you to everybody on the panel. Love all of y'all. Please support Honeybee. Definitely support Texas. Miss Sugar Sweet down in the comments. They have some phenomenal financial literacy information that you can get from Texas and Miss Sugar Sweet. So check them out. And Honeybee, of course, with her perfume and oils.
All right. With that being said, I want to say good night. And y'all know my saying, I love you without a price tag. And I'll see you next week.